I believe that you are currently working as a CEO of PrivacyPlan. So could you illuminate me and my audience, what does PrivacyPlan do? And I would love to know more about the database that you've created and working on. Like, why did you start? And this database,
Yeah.
what was the inspiration, and what are you hoping to achieve?
That's an interesting story, at least to me. Maybe not so much to everybody else, but maybe it will be. So PrivacyPlan is a consultancy. I consult for a lot of different clients on data privacy, but I don't consult on compliance issues. That's really what I guess everybody else in the privacy industry does, or most people. But that really doesn't interest me a lot. It's I guess it's what everybody else does, and I want to be a little different. So I do, strategic consulting, speaking, training, thought leadership, things like that. But what I really love to do is create data around data privacy. And this really started when I was studying. Well, the interest was always there, but it sort of crystallized when I was studying for the CIPPUS certification from the International Association of Privacy Professionals. And because I like to put all of my thoughts into data format. And so I started creating lists of laws and lists of organizations, lists of regulators, and things like that. And I realized that it has some value. And so one of the things, actually, the first data set I created was a list of privacy podcasts, because I wanted to sort of bone up and sort of hear what other people were talking about on issues as sort of a background to my study, right? And so I think it was on the IAPP website, I started posting my list of my favorite privacy podcasts, and that sort of grew into a bit of a thing, I guess. And so I decided I want to make more databases about this. And now I've got a whole bunch of different data sets. And I've actually started a big relationship with the Data Collaboration Alliance to put a lot of that data into not exactly the public domain, but essentially into some data projects where the privacy community can all collaborate on that data in a way that is fruitful for everybody, so that we can share in that data and contribute to it.
So is it open source or is it proprietary?
Yeah, no, it's actually open source.
Wow. Thank you for doing that. So I actually have a follow-up question regarding this thing. Like, what can we expect from this project? So what I really mean to ask is, what would be the next 6 months to perhaps, let's say, 2 years look like with regards to PrivacyPlan?
Well, so let's talk first about the data sets. So I've actually got data sets of privacy laws. There's like 500 privacy laws, and we've got maybe 80 or 100 different data elements for each of those laws. Now, not every single cell is filled out, but we're getting pretty robust. It's pretty amazing. And we've got a lot of data points that are enumerated that like other people that have a set of privacy laws just don't enumerate. So that it's easy to sort of sort by things that are interesting to privacy researchers and other people that might be looking to find certain types of laws. So we think that, eventually this data set could actually run applications for people, maybe even, commercial entities. So we might be able to actually license some of that out, even though it would be sort of open source software, that we might actually be able to have it sort of like a licensing arm of that. But it's not just privacy laws, right? It's actually privacy laws, privacy regulators, privacy podcasts, privacy news, privacy enhancing technology companies. So, and the list sort of goes on, but it's all kinds of things like that. We've even developed our own privacy tagger system that uses sort of a system that I made with a couple of other folks to tag keywords, so that we've essentially built sort of like an ontology, actually more of a folksonomy for privacy keywords to all of those different things. so that you can sort of jump from one to another very easily. So that's one sort of element of what PrivacyPlan is sort of doing. I've also been getting involved in a lot of startups. So I consult with privacy startups, and I'm doing that for a couple now. And the other thing that I may do, if I actually can find the time, is I've actually started and I've sort of gotten delayed on actually writing a book on the history of privacy. And there are a few books on the history of privacy that are out there, and they're quite good. But I don't want to do what other people have already done. I don't want to write a prose history of privacy. I want to write a data-driven history of privacy. So I want to take all the data points that we can gather about data privacy in the ways that I sort of like to do, and then use that to actually drive the narrative and to create charts and timelines and different things, and break that out into multiple different lenses and facets. So it might be, one chapter of the book is the history of privacy in the telephone, right? And it would have all the different things that you might ever want to think about with the phone. And another one might be privacy in the body, and it would look at all the different, court rulings and things about, historical events that were of significance that relate to that, and all the kinds of data points. And I think it could be really, really interesting to look at it that way, as opposed to just hearing a narrative about the issues. When you look at, all the different types of lenses that we could do, I think it could be really compelling.